mountainside. I'm going to give a little tour on the table saw here. This won't replace a one-on-one demo, but it'll give you a little start. Okay, here's a tour. This is a fence. This is the table saw guard. This is another fence called the miter fence. It slips into these slots right here. It's a push stick. So what the table saw does, it rips and it cross cuts. For our purposes, we'll mainly use it for ripping, and this is the rip fence. So, it slides along here, and it's got the measurement gauge right here. If I want to put that at 4.5 inches, line up that little witness mark, and then engage that lever. Blade should be just above your wood, like 1/4 inch. We don't want to get too close to the blade, so we use a push stick. Make sure that guards are in place. You have ear protection and eye protection. Also, one of the bad things that can happen to you on this saw is kickback. There's a few things that prevent kickback from happening, but it can still happen. Here are the things. This is a splitter right here. That splits the wood so it doesn't bind as much, which will prevent it from coming back. These are anti-kickback fingers. They kind of hold your wood down as you're sliding it through. So those two things. The other thing is, it has to be at least 300 millimeters or 12 inches. Longer the better. That will help to prevent kickback as well. So basically, what you do is you turn it on with this button right here, and you can just hit it with your knee to turn it off if you need to in an emergency, or any time that's just a good way to stop it. So, got my cut, I'm ready, my guard is in place. I really only care about the wood. Has to be super flat. You have to joint it unless it's a factory edge, but it has to be super flat against this fence. So you slide it along, kind of looking at that fence. Once your wood gets to the edge of the table, don't let go. But so you're holding it with one hand, and then you got your push stick with the other, and you push it all the way through until you're well past the blade. Once you're well past the blade, you're in the clear, and you can turn it off. Okay, so as I said, there's 2 fences, but you can't use them both at the same time. That's called double fencing, and what it's going to do is create a binding action right here, and it'll promote kickback. We don't want that. Kickback happens when when the wood is binding against the fence and the blade. So you don't have kickback on the other side of the blade. You don't really have to worry about that. All you're worried about is getting your wood from the fence, between the blade and the fence, and get that all the way through. Okay, so that's the nuts and bolts, and it looks like this. I'm going to cut a little chunk off. I've got a factory edge here, it's nice and smooth. I'm going to turn it on. Once the wood is against the edge of the table like this, I've got my push stick ready. And I go all the way through. Make sure it hits the out-feed table. And that is the initial safety demo on the table saw. But always ask permission, explain your cut, and if you have any trouble at all, you can always push stop with your knee mid-cut if you're feeling like, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Even though Chris explained it and I wrote the test and everything. Thank you very much, Mountainside.